Ever get chills watching The Hunger Games? That whole District 12 vibe, so stark, so real.
Yeah.
Well, picture this. A real ghost town, similar vibes, poised for a comeback. That's the story we're diving into today.
Henry River Mill Village, right?
Exactly, an abandoned mill town in North Carolina, but maybe not for long.
Not if this group, NC, Janiju, and NC, has anything to say about it. They've got this whole plan.
Ambitious plan.
Yeah, ambitious to transform this place. Talk about affordable housing, job training, the works.
The whole 9 yards. But that's the big question, isn't it? Can they actually pull it off? Is this the real deal, or more like something Katniss would have to escape from?
That's what we're here to unpack. We'll dig into the history of this Henry River Mill Village, see what UA and NC is proposing, and then the fun part.
Analysis.
Exactly. The potential, the pitfalls, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
By the end, we'll have a much better sense of what this project could mean, not just for this one town, but for community revitalization on a larger scale.
All right, so let's rewind a bit. Henry River Mill Village, it wasn't always deserted buildings.
No, not at all. Go back to the early 1900s, bustling textile hub.
Yeah.
The mill was the heart and soul, generations of families working there, a whole way of life built around it.
But then, like so many towns tied to one industry, the bottom fell out.
Exactly. Textile industry shifted, jobs dried up, people had to move on. By the 1970s,
Ghost town.
pretty much. Eerie, though. Kind of beautiful in a haunting way, which is probably what drew Hollywood in.
And now NC wants to bring it back, but this time it's not about movie sets, it's about real people's lives.
And real challenges. Their vision, it's big. Repurpose those existing structures, turn them into much-needed affordable housing.
Specifically for folks experiencing homelessness.
Right. A fresh start. A chance to rebuild their lives.
So more than just putting a roof over their heads, it's about that sense of community, of belonging.
Absolutely. And to support that, they're talking about attracting businesses, local businesses, sustainable industries, the whole bit. And job training. That's a big part of it.
Give residents the skills to be part of this revitalization, not just bystanders.
Exactly. Plus, they're factoring in the support systems, education, mental health resources. They're trying to create a safety net.
It's like they looked at this ghost town and saw, what, a blank slate? A chance to do some good?
And they're adding another layer, too. They're planning to welcome immigrants.
Interesting. Adds a whole nother dimension, doesn't it?
It does. The potential for cultural exchange, for creating a truly diverse community, it's not just about helping those already here in America who are struggling. It's about offering refuge, a new beginning to those coming from other countries.
Okay, so far so good. But now I have to put on my skeptic's hat a little bit.
Sure.
This all sounds incredible on paper, but let's talk about the potential downsides. This is a massive undertaking, right? Are they prepared for the challenges that come with a project of this scope?
It's a valid concern. As inspiring as the vision is, there are bound to be hurdles. Funding, for one. Can they secure the capital they need, not just to buy the property, but to actually renovate these buildings?
Bring them up to code, make them livable, safe.
Exactly. We're talking a serious investment.
And then there's the whole job creation thing. Attracting businesses is one thing, but can they make sure those jobs actually last? We don't want this to be a temporary fix.
Right. Sustainability is key.
Mhm.
And they have talked about that, focusing on industries that make sense for the area, that tap into the growing demand for sustainable options.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
Well, they've mentioned ecotourism. For one, there's a lot of natural beauty in that region,
Makes sense.
and maybe some light manufacturing, but using locally sourced materials, keeping it sustainable.
So playing to their strengths. But let's not forget about the human side of all this. You're talking about building a community from the ground up.
Right.
People from all walks of life, many of whom have been through some really tough times. How do you create a sense of belonging, of shared purpose in that kind of environment?
Yeah, it's a huge challenge, and you've got to think about the existing communities nearby, too. Change can be scary, especially in a place like Henry River Mill Village, where, it's like time has stood still.
So how do they bring everyone on board?
That's a big one, and I'm not sure they have all the answers yet. But one thing that's important to remember is that Henry River Mill Village, it wasn't just a place where people worked. It was very much a company town.
Okay.
The mill owners, they had a lot of control over their workers' lives.
It's kind of ironic when you think about it.
How so?
Well, this place that was once all about, one powerful entity calling the shots, now it's supposed to be a haven for people seeking a fresh start, a chance to build something new.
That is interesting, yeah. The past always influences the present, though, right?
Yeah.
NCGODINC, they need to be aware of that history as they move forward.
Absolutely. So, have they addressed how they're going to ensure that diversity and inclusivity are actually woven into the fabric of this new community? Because it's one thing to say you welcome everyone, but it's another to create a place where everyone actually feels like they belong, like they have an equal shot.
You're right. It's got to be more than just words. They need to show they understand the potential pitfalls and have concrete plans to avoid them.
So, how do they make sure that everyone has equal access to resources and opportunities, regardless of their background, their immigration status?
Exactly. And it's not just on empty Yagi INC. The community, the surrounding area, everyone has a role to play.
This feels bigger than just one town.
I agree.
This is about how we address homelessness, how we create opportunities, how we bridge divides in a way that's fair, that's just.
It's a microcosm of larger issues. And the thing is, this isn't the first time someone's tried to revitalize a struggling community.
Oh, right. There's a whole history there.
We can learn from those past attempts, both the successes and the failures. What worked, what didn't, and why.
Give us the crash course. What are the key ingredients to making this kind of project work?
Well, first and foremost, you got to have community buy-in. You can't just come in with a prepackaged plan and expect everyone to fall in line.
Yeah, that makes
You
sense.
have to listen to the people who actually live there, understand their needs, address their concerns.
Make them partners in the process, not just passive recipients.
Exactly. And then there's the economic piece. Jobs are crucial, but they have to be good jobs, livable wages, opportunities for growth.
Sustainable jobs.
Yes. Jobs that are rooted in something that has long-term potential, not just a flash in the pan.
Reminds me of all those towns that banked on tourism only to see it fizzle out.
It happens. And you have to think about resources too. Healthcare, education, affordable housing,
The basics.
the essentials, the things that make a place livable.
Okay, so we've got these key ingredients for community revitalization. So we've got our checklist. Let's see how NCGID measures up. Starting with that community buy-in seems extra important here.
For sure. Transparency, real engagement, that's crucial. And they have been making efforts, town halls, meetings, that sort of thing.
But are people on board?
It's a mixed bag. There's definitely some skepticism, especially about the influx of new residents, particularly the immigrants.
Right. Change can be tough, especially in a place like this, so steeped in its past.
Exactly. Building trust is going to be a long game for them.
Yeah.
And it's not enough to just talk about their plans. They need to really listen to those concerns, address them head on,
Show they get it.
and that they're committed to making this work for everyone.
So jury's still out on that one. What about the economic piece? Sustainable jobs, that's what's going to make this last.
Right, and that's where those sustainable industries come in.
Ecotourism, local manufacturing, all that.
Mm.
But are those realistic? I mean, can they really make that work in Henry River Mill Village?
It'll be tough, no doubt. They've talked about partnering with universities, tapping into their expertise, and they're reaching out to companies that are already invested in those sectors, see if they're looking to expand.
So they have a plan. Okay, but jobs are only part of the equation. What about the rest? The schools, the healthcare, the childcare?
The support system.
Exactly. That's what really makes a community, right?
And that's where things get a little vague. They're definitely talking the talk, access to quality healthcare, education, the whole 9 yards. But how? The specifics are a little fuzzy.
Which is a big deal, especially in a rural area where those resources are already stretched thin.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to bring in existing providers, create their own programs?
Those are important questions, ones I'm not sure they have the answers to just yet.
So it sounds like we're ending this deep dive on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair assessment. There's a lot of potential here, a lot of hope, but also a lot of uncertainty.
They've got their work cut out for them, that's for sure. But hey, at least they're asking the right questions, right?
They are. They're trying to tackle some really big issues, economic revitalization, social justice, and doing it in a way that's sustainable.
It's a tall order, no doubt. Well, we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But for now, what do you think? Could this work? Could Henry River Mill Village really become a model for community revitalization? Or is it all just a Hollywood ending that's too good to be true? Let us know what you think, and join us next time for another deep dive.